Hello and welcome. I am Ramesh Ramachandran and you're watching Newsnight on DD India, your prime-time destination for news and bespoke analysis. It's good to see you all again. Right, on the show tonight, we take a deep dive into India's vaccination strategy and forward planning. Now, the central government is working consistently to enhance the availability of COVID-19 vaccines. Not just that, it is proactively encouraging public and private sectors to enter into technology transfer agreements with Indian vaccine manufacturers, including the Made in India Covaxin vaccine developed jointly by Bharat Biotech and the Indian Council of Medical Research for enhanced vaccine supply across the country. All that and much more coming up over the next 1 hour. But first, as always, the headlines. India approves the second and third phases of clinical trial of the indigenous vaccine called Covaxin for the 12 to 18 age group. Bharat Biotech to conduct trials on 525 volunteers. Gap between two doses of Covishield vaccine extended from 6 to 8 weeks to 12 to 16 weeks. The Sputnik V vaccine from Russia will likely be available in Indian markets next week. 1/3 of Indians above the age of 45 have received at least one dose of vaccine. A total of 2.16 billion doses of various vaccines to be manufactured in India between August and December. eSanjeevani extends service to more than 5 million patients. 1,500 doctors serve patients remotely through National Telemedicine Service every day. Some states work towards rolling out a special home isolation OPD. States take stringent measures to contain the spread of the pandemic. Bihar announces lockdown till 25th May. Maharashtra extends lockdown by 15 days. Restrictions to remain in force in the state till 1st June. But essential services will be open and available to the needy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to release the 8th installment of financial assistance as part of the PM Kisan scheme. He will hold a video conference on Friday to disperse 19,000 crore rupees to 9.5 crore farmers across the country. Tension escalates in Israel-Gaza violence. Gaza braces for more Israeli airstrikes. Hamas fires more rockets into Israel. US President Joe Biden shows solidarity with Israel, says Israel has a right to defend itself. In sports, India retains the top spot in ICC Test Team rankings. Virat Kohli's men are closely followed by their World Test Championship final opponents, New Zealand, with a rating of 120. And President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President Venkaiah Naidu greet compatriots on the occasion of Eid. People in Kerala celebrate the festival, Eid being celebrated across large parts of the world. Right, let me dive straight into our cover story. It gives you all the COVID-19 related updates in one place so that you don't need to go anywhere else. First up, you need to know that the Indian company Bharat Biotech has been granted permission to conduct the second and third phases of clinical trials on the wholly indigenous Made in India vaccine called Covaxin for the 2 to 18-year age group. Second, the gap between two doses of Covishield vaccine, I repeat, Covishield vaccine only has been extended from 4 to 6 weeks to 12 to 16 weeks. That's between 3 and 4 months. The next report tells you all about it.
Vaccination continues across the country. Those due for their second dose of the inoculation as well as those above 18 years of age are being vaccinated. Meanwhile, Bharat Biotech has been granted permission to conduct phase 2 and 3 trial of COVID vaccine Covaxin for the age group of 2 to 18 years. The expert panel of the Central Drug Standard Control Organization has recommended the conduct of trials. The Drugs Controller General of India has accepted the recommendation of Subject Expert Committee. The trial will be conducted in 525 healthy volunteers. The decision was taken after deliberations on Bharat Biotech's application for trials to evaluate the safety and immunogenicity of Covaxin vaccine in children aged between 2 to 18 years. In another development, the COVID working group chaired by Dr. N.K. Arora has recommended extension of the gap between the first and second dose of Covishield vaccine to 12 to 16 weeks. The present gap between the two doses of Covishield vaccine is 6 to 8 weeks. The decision was based on the available real-life evidences, particularly from UK. No change in interval of Covaxin vaccine doses was recommended. The final decision was taken after the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization recommended increasing the gap between two doses of Covishield. In a review meeting with 6 states, Union Health Minister reiterated the recommendation that 70% of the vaccines allotted to states be used for those eligible for the second dose, be they frontline workers or above the age of 45.
When we look at the data, we find that there is a significant gap between the numbers of people who have received the first dose and numbers where the people have received the second dose. So there has to be a focused activity in the next couple of weeks to ensure that everyone who got the first dose, he also gets the second dose.
States are making efforts on the vaccination front. Chhattisgarh government has launched a portal, CG for ease of registration of vaccinations. The portal has been developed by Chhattisgarh Infotech Promotion Society. The state has announced that people without internet or cell phone coverage can register through help desk established at panchayats, municipal bodies and other bodies.
18 से 44 साल के उम्र के लोगों के वैक्सीनेशन के लिए आज ऐप लॉन्च हुआ है। इसका नाम सीजी टीका रखा गया है। तो इस नाम से ये सीजी टीका ऐप लॉन्च हुआ और जो 18 साल से 44 साल के लोगों के लिए जो हमारे पास जो टीका आया था 5 लाख, उसमें से 4 लाख लग चुका है, केवल 1 लाख बचा है और संभवतः कल वो समाप्त हो जाएगा। ऐसे में इस ऐप का लाभ दूसरे जो खेप आएगा उस समय लोग इसका उठा पाएंगे।
In Chandigarh, a consignment of 33,000 vaccines has been received. Booking slots for those between 18 and 44 years have been opened and vaccination will begin from Saturday. The drive will continue till the vaccines are exhausted.
हमें 4 लाख करीब 18 एबव के लिए चाहिए और ये हमारा जो हमने 1 लाख का ऑर्डर ऑलरेडी पैसा देके प्लेस कर चुके, ग्रेजुअली भारत सरकार भेज रहा है, हमें मिल जाएगा। 45 के ऊपर की बात है, हमारे पास 50,000 से ज़्यादा डोजेस अवेलेबल है और हमारे पास 70 सेंटर है जहाँ पर 50 गवर्नमेंट का 20 प्राइवेट का जहाँ पर ये दिया जा रहा है, लोग उसका लाभ उठा सकते हैं।
Several states have decided to issue global tenders for vaccines. On Tuesday, Delhi, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana took the decision to float these tenders. Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Odisha have also done the same as Haryana. BMC has become the first municipal body in India to issue a global tender as well.
कोरोना के खिलाफ जो सबसे बड़ा कवच है वो है सबकी वैक्सीनेशन और सबकी वैक्सीनेशन जल्दी हो जाए, हमें वैक्सीन मिल जाए, इसके लिए हम ग्लोबल टेंडर करने जा रहे हैं कि विश्व में कहीं से भी अगर हमें वैक्सीन मिल जाती है तो हम अपने हरियाणा के निवासियों का जल्दी से जल्दी उनका टीकाकरण कर दें, उनकी वैक्सीनेशन करवा दें ताकि सब बेफिक्र हो जाएं।
हमारे देश में भी पहली महानगर पालिका है, अपना देश में दूसरा सेकंड राज्य है कि जो ग्लोबल टेंडर कर रहे हैं। तो मुझे लगता है जो ग्लोबल टेंडर हो रहे हैं 1 कोटि के लिए ग्लोबल टेंडर हो रहे हैं, जिस 12 मई से 18 मई तक उनका सबमिशन डेट है और उनके लिए 3 जो हम उनको हाँ पूरे कंडीशन करके वर्क ऑर्डर देने के बाद 3 वीक्स कंप्लीट होने के पहले या थोड़ा उसमें ही देना चाहिए। बाद में टेंडर जो दे रही है उन्होंने DCGI और ICMR के जो निकष है वो पूरा करना चाहिए।
Some states like Karnataka, Delhi and Rajasthan are reporting a temporary slowdown in the vaccination drive for those between 18 and 44 years of age. Union Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Sadanand Gowda, has said that the situation will ease up in a few days.
In Karnataka, there is about 75,000 Covaxin at present available here. Of course, in certain centers there is little bit scarcity. Recently, there is a big crowd of 1845 that people, that age the people, they came. So the Covaxin for the second dose, who are supposed to receive the second dose, there is a small setback. We hope that we will get it rectified.
On the whole, all efforts are being made to ensure quick and efficient vaccination against COVID-19 across the country. Bureau Report, DD India.
Right, I want to pull up some more information graphics, in fact, to help you understand India's vaccination strategy and planning. First up, take a look at the graphic behind me on the wall here. It speaks to you about the coverage of India's vaccination campaign so far. First up, take a look at the categories. There are 4 categories of beneficiaries: people above 45 years old, healthcare workers, frontline workers, and as well people between 18 and 44 years of age. Now take a look at the number of people who have received either the first dose or the second dose and the total number of doses so far. Now, above 45 years, more than 11 crore people have got at least 1 dose of the vaccine, and 2.5 crore people have got 2 doses of vaccine so far in the last many months of India's vaccination campaign. And the number goes progressively down to 18 to 44 years. 34.8 lakh people have got the first dose of the vaccine so far till today, that's 13th May. And the total number of first doses has been 13.76 crore. Second dose is 3.96, there are almost 4 crore doses. The total number is 17.72 crore vaccines so far. Next up, take a look at the vaccine doses procured by the central government for free distribution to the states. Now, 35.6 crore vaccines have been procured so far. Look at the source. There are 4 sources: PM CARES Fund, Gavi COVAX Facility, government procurement for phase 2, and procurement for phase 3 as well. Now take a look at the quantity of vaccines procured. PM CARES Fund, 6.6 crore vaccines so far, and all of them have been utilized in full. Next up is the Gavi COVAX Facility. 1 crore Covishield vaccines procured so far. They've been received and utilized in full. Next up, government procurement for phase 2, 10 crore Covishield vaccines and 2 crore Covaxin vaccines, and 86% has been received, and the rest will be received by the end of this month. And last but not the least, procurement for phase 3, 11 crore Covishield vaccines and 5 crore Covaxin vaccines, and supply beginning from this month and ending in the month of July. The total number is 35.6 crore in all, and 27.6 crore Covishield, and including almost 8 crore Covaxin vaccines. Next up, let's take a look at the next infographic. All vaccine doses procured by central government and made available to states or UTs are free of cost. That's point number 1. Number 2, all vaccine doses, in fact, going on to the next infographic, states are given advance indication of free vaccine that would be available from central government to them for the next 15 days, as well as a full month supply of vaccines that the states and private hospitals can procure directly from the manufacturers. Now, such advance intimation to states or UTs facilitates easy procurement and effective planning by state for administering vaccine doses. Now, as I mentioned, that's the last point. Such advance intimation facilitates easy procurement and distribution to the beneficiaries across the country. Next up, take a look at the doses delivered or to be delivered to the states. This is till 13th, but that's today. Free doses supplied by Government of India to states or UTs is 1.65 crore. Moving on to the next infographic, free doses to be supplied by Government of India to the states or UTs is 2.35 crores. Next up, take a look at the doses directly procured by the states, and that number stands at 1.23 crore. And last but not the least, doses directly procured by states and in pipeline is 1.27 crore. And the doses directly procured by private hospitals is less than or almost 1 crore, 0.8 crore to be precise. Now, finally, take a look at the total number, and that is in the month of May is 7.3 crore in all. Now, last but not the least, take a look at the last infographic. This is the emerging vaccine availability in India today as we speak. Covishield, 75 crore. Covaxin, the Made in India vaccine, 55 crore, going all the way down to BioE subunit, Zydus Cadila, Serum Institute, Biotech nasal vaccine, Genova, and Sputnik. Sputnik is 15.6 crore, and the total number of all these vaccines is 216 crore. That's 2.16 billion vaccines. Right, so that is the infographic we had to share with you all. Now I want to take a look at the big takeaways about India's vaccination drive from this afternoon's media briefing in New Delhi. It should give you a good idea of where things stand today as far as India's efforts to ramp up vaccination is concerned. Take a look.
We are happy to report that 1/3, lagbhag exactly almost 1/3 of 45 and above are protected. 45 and above age group contributes 88% of deaths. So you can imagine how much dent it would have made, has made, to reducing the risk of death. So we request people to seek the second dose. We request state governments to kindly focus specifically on the second dose, ताकि उनका कोर्स पूरा हो जाए. स्टेट्स को ये कहा गया है इन द लाइट ऑफ द सेकंड डोज इशू कि लगभग 70% डोजेज जो हैं वो आप इस स्टेज में सेकंड डोज के लिए आप चिन्हित करिए. स्पुतनिक वैक्सीन देश में आ गया है और आज मुझे ये कहते हुए खुशी है कि अगले हफ्ते हमें उम्मीद है कि स्पुतनिक वैक्सीन विल बी अवेलेबल इन द मार्केट. जो लिमिटेड सप्लाई पहली आई है वहाँ से वो उसकी बिक्री शुरू होने की उम्मीद है अगले हफ्ते, अर्ली नेक्स्ट वीक, और उसके बाद उनकी और सप्लाईज आएंगी और फिर जुलाई के महीने से ये बनना शुरू हो जाएगा. और ये सब कुछ उस पीरियड में 15.6 करोड़ तक बनने का एस्टिमेट है फ्रॉम द कंपनी. यूनियन गवर्नमेंट भी प्रोक्योर करती है, वो भी स्टेट्स के साथ ही शेयर की जाती है, वहीं लगती हैं, उसी समूहों को लगती हैं जिनको लगना चाहिए. स्टेट्स बताए जाते हैं, उनको एडवांस में बताया जाता है कि ये जो फ्री सप्लाई ऑफ वैक्सीन गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की तरफ से प्रोक्योर की जाती है वो कितनी अवेलेबल होगी. इसका सिस्टम बना हुआ है और पहले से ही बताया जाता है, और जो बाकी जो प्रोक्योर वो खुद करेंगे उस शेयर में से 1 महीने के अंतराल के प्लानिंग वो करके आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. और ये इन्फॉर्मेशन जो है वो स्टेट के साथ शेयर की जाती है, बताई जाती है. कॉन्स्टेंटली हम उनके टच में रहते हैं फॉर फुलेस्ट पॉसिबल कोऑर्डिनेशन. अगस्त और दिसंबर के बीच में 216 करोड़ अगर हम इस सीन को लेकर चले डोजेस भारत में निर्मित होंगी। अब इसमें रिस्क उतना माइनस कर दीजिए, बट टू बी प्राउड टू से दैट 2 बिलियन डोजेस इन अ मैटर ऑफ 7-6 months or 5 months actually will be made in India for India, for people of India. तो इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं होनी चाहिए कि वैक्सीन विल बी अवेलेबल फॉर ऑल एज वी मूव फॉरवर्ड। अभी तक वो 5 महीने से लगे हैं। 46% पॉपुलेशन यूएस की अभी तक सिंगल डोज दे पाई है। जर्मनी 8.3 करोड़ पॉपुलेशन है और उनको सिंगल डोज और मोर जो मिला है 34% पॉपुलेशन को मिला है। हमारे किसी 2 प्रदेशों से भी उनकी कम जनसंख्या। फ्रांस 6.5 करोड़ है। बहुत सारे प्रदेश हमारे इतनी पॉपुलेशन है, सिर्फ एक स्टेट के बराबर है लगभग। वो दे पाए हैं सिर्फ 27% को। यूएस जैसे देश जिन्होंने इतनी स्टॉक पाइल अपने लिए पहले ही रख ली बिना किसी से शेयर किए हुए, अच्छा काम किया, वैक्सीन डेवलप वहां हुए, पूरा जोर लगाने के बावजूद भी 5 महीने में अपनी 44% जनता को कवर कर पाए। इट टेक्स टाइम। 5 महीने हो गए, 1 महीना हमसे पहले शुरू किया उन्होंने। प्लीज वक्त लगेगा थोड़ा, इसीलिए प्रायोरिटाइज किया गया। इसीलिए भारत सरकार की तरफ से जो फ्री सप्लाई दी जाती है उसका फोकस उस पॉपुलेशन पे है जिसको सबसे ज्यादा वल्नरेबिलिटी है। ये हमें सोच के चलना चाहिए।
Right, time now for our In Focus segment in which we are discussing about the expansion of COVID vaccination to ensure a safe future. And joining me are 2 guests, Dr. Sujit Kumar Singh, Director, National Center for Disease Control or the NCDC, and Dr. Rakesh Lodha, Professor, Department of Pediatrics at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Gentlemen, welcome to Newsnight. Dr. Singh, if I can start with you. First and foremost, people want to know why the decision to ensure and to tell people not to take their second dose of Covishield vaccine before the expiry of at least 3 to 4 months, 12 to 16 weeks. Why is it so?
No, I think we have to look at from a technical angle. These things are periodically reviewed by the expert groups, which take into account the evidences which are generated through continuous and ongoing researches in the world.
Okay.
So the efficacy is assessed, the periodicity is assessed, development of antibodies is assessed. A lot of things are taken into account. A lot of clinical trials are going on everywhere in the world. And for that, government has constituted a vaccine expert group. And above that, there is a national expert group as well, under the chairmanship of Niti Aayog member Dr. Vinod Paul.
Okay.
And before that, it was assessed by another expert group under Dr. N.K. Arora, who is the inclined chairperson. So I think which has got experts from all the fields, and both the groups have together reviewed the evidences available and then came to this conclusion. And that is why I think we should believe the science. Science should be guiding the policies rather than the reverse.
Indeed, science should guide India's vaccination policy indeed. Professor Lodha, if I can come to you now, we've seen different categories in the graphic that we are playing out on the screens as we are speaking. The different categories of vaccine beneficiaries, starting with the 45-year-olds, and before that the frontline workers, and then the 18 to 45-year-old people. And now we are told that the next on the horizon is the 2 to 18 age group of people, including children. What kind of vaccine are we looking at for them, number one? And number two, would the existing vaccine, that is Covishield and Covaxin, be also available to children, or would they be new candidate vaccines as well going forward?
Okay, good evening, everybody. So I think what we need to understand is that the vaccination program intends to expand the beneficiaries to children as well.
Right.
And as part of that, what we are looking at is permission for a trial or a study to demonstrate safety and some immunogenicity in this particular age group, because the trials on the basis of which the vaccines were permitted to market or to be in the market were done only in adults in certain,
Right.
scenarios. Now, before we actually expand the vaccination program in children, we would need to have safety data as well as immunogenicity data, which means that whether the vaccine elicits the same response or similar response as it does in adults in terms of immune response. Once that data are out, the regulators are going to examine that, and based on that, they're going to give recommendations whether a particular vaccine is suitable or not. So current permission is basically for doing these studies, and once these studies are done, we would have the next steps. So this is the permission currently has been granted for the Covaxin, the Bharat Biotech vaccine, and that's what is going to be studied over the next few weeks or so.
Right. Dr. Singh, now, since you are one of the key personnel, key people managing or running or supervising India's vaccination strategy and overall COVID-19 management in the country today as we speak, I have to ask you this now. There's been some concern or confusion about whether and should individual states be allowed to independently source vaccines either domestically or from foreign sources. What's your opinion or the government's position on this?
Oh, I think we should know. I will not like to comment on the policy or the government decision,
right.
But I will definitely like to stress upon the point that the need of the hour is vaccine.
Okay.
And vaccine needs to be expanded to the other groups as well, as Dr. Lodha has rightly mentioned. Because what we are seeing and what the scientific advisor has already said, that there could be a third wave. And in that third wave, the most vulnerable or susceptible population, which we expect as of now, because now all the persons above the age group of 18 have been brought under some kind of umbrella. And the most vulnerable remains the below 18 years old. So I think what I would like to stress upon is that there is a need and there is a justification that we need to provide the vaccines to our citizens.
Right.
And these are the only two ways by which the immunity can develop in the person. Either through exposure to infection, that it definitely requires a lot of morbidity and mortality. And second way is, of course, through vaccine. So I think we all prefer the second one, where the calibrated dose is given, where the efficacy is assessed, where the side effects are minimal. So all these things are taken into account, and the need of the hour is vaccine.
Indeed. And Professor Lodha, since you head the Department of Pediatrics at the AIIMS, New Delhi, now there is some frequently asked questions from our viewers in India and around the world, and that is that at the moment as we speak, only the Made in India vaccine, Covaxin, has been allowed to conduct phase 2 and 3 trials for the 2 to 18 age group, which presumably means that only Covaxin is a potential candidate for vaccination for this particular age group. Are there other vaccines also in the running or in contention for being administered to the 2 to 18-year-old age group?
Okay, yeah. So I think at this time point, what you said is right. There are other interesting, let's say, vaccine candidates on the horizon, and that which could be game changers, which includes a single-dose nasal vaccine. But that, again, once the efficacy is proven in adults, I think they're going to kind of take it to children as well. We also heard that the regulators are going to allow vaccines which have been approved by other regulators, established regulators. So currently, the United States FDA has approved the Pfizer vaccine to be taken down up to children about 12 years and above. So that age group has been expanded. So taking a corollary from that, it's possible that vaccines like the Pfizer vaccine may also be potentially be used in children above 12 years as of now. And once more data are there, age could be brought down to as low as 6 months. Similarly, Sputnik and all the trial data from or study data from children would have to be available before these are permitted for use in children. If I may, I would just like to add a point regarding overall about the children. So thankfully, so far children have been less severely affected, and that's the reason why when we are facing the vaccination, the first priority was looking at the vulnerable in the sense that those who have high risk of mortality and so on. So as we go further, as we move towards almost universal coverage, children would be also be benefited. The issue, I think, one concern which people raised is about the third wave and children being the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think we need to just maybe tone it down a bit. We need to see that between the first wave and the second wave, there's no significant difference in the proportions of children that have been affected. The absolute number has definitely gone up. Countrywide, from a peak of 1 lakh cases, daily cases, we moved up to, 4 lakh cases, which is more than 4 times of what we were having. So correspondingly, the absolute number definitely has increased. But if we look at whether children have been excessively, susceptible or excessively they have more severe disease, that doesn't seem to be the case. And going forward, if we don't have a really new kind of a variant which is very virulent and all, we probably may have a similar picture. Certainly, if the age groups or the adults have been vaccinated, the coverage has been great, and we kind of catch up and the percentages increase, then certainly there would be a population of children who may be vulnerable. So while we need to be prepared to face, look after the needs of the children who may get sick, at the same time, I think there has to be an overall sense of readiness. This argument may not be. I think it needs to be examined closely.
Absolutely, Dr. Singh. Another, besides the pandemic, infodemic is also a problem to contend with in these trying times. Now, if I were to ask you, some people are wondering and asking that there have been reports or suggestions that people who have recovered from COVID-19 should only go for vaccination after a few months. Number one, is that true? Is that correct? And also, given the numbers that are coming out across the country, we are told that the numbers are plateauing and that we might peak. I mean, we'll know when we've peaked only after we've peaked. But is the worst behind us already, or are we still not out of the woods yet?
No, I think I'd like to start with the first question, where you have said that there should be a gap of months. I'll not agree totally that there has to be a gap. Like any other vaccine, I think a gap of 1 month is good enough between the infection after it has subsided fully and the person has fully recovered. You should wait for a month, and then, of course, I think looking at the other conditions, that they can go for a vaccination. Second aspect which you asked is definitely very, very pertinent at this point of time, because this is the one view which brings in complacency and which brings in a lot of relaxation as far as people's mind is concerned regarding the COVID appropriate behavior. And that is the cause many times when we think that now the things are going to be okay, and we start behaving in a way which we should not be behaving in this pandemic scenario. So I think, yes, we are seeing a declining pattern, at least in 3 or 4 states. Yes, they are plateauing is there. In 7-day moving average, if we call 2 standard deviation plus minus, then definitely there is a sign that some kind of respite is there. But yes, we are seeing infection in rural areas, which is a challenge in UP, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, and even in some parts of Rajasthan and down south also. So rural part and different states speaking at different times, that is going to be a challenge, like West Bengal, Assam, and now you see Tamil Nadu and Karnataka and Kerala as well. So all these states which have started now giving us more cases. So overall country scenario, you may have different, but inside, because India being a diverse country, we will expect different states coming up differently, and that will give us a definitely hard time in the next 2 or 3 months.
Absolutely. I'm running out of time, so I will have to leave it at that. May I thank both my guests, Dr. Sujit Kumar Singh and Professor Rakesh Lodha, for making time for us here at Newsnight. Thank you once again for your time. Appreciate it. Right, so that was a discussion on the topic of India's vaccination strategy and planning for a safe future. Shifting focus to other stories we're tracking here on Newsnight, the government is working on a war footing to augment oxygen supplies across the country. Now, the Oxygen Express trains operated by Indian Railways continue to ferry much needed oxygen to various parts. The government is also swiftly distributing relief supplies received from overseas in order to strengthen tertiary medical care. And in just a year, the eSanjeevani, the flagship national telemedicine service, has served more than 5 million people. All that and more in the next report.
All-round efforts continue to gather pace as the centre is extending all possible assistance to the states and union territories in the war against COVID-19 pandemic, be it making crucial equipment available to the states witnessing a surge in cases or delivering life-saving liquid medical oxygen via the quick and efficient railways network. The centre is doing all within its means. In addition to this, the foreign aid reaching India is being rerouted to the states at the earliest. As on 13th May 2021, India's active caseload stands at 37,10,525, whereas the cumulative recoveries count has been recorded as 1,97,34,823. The fatality count is 2,58,317. As the data depicts, COVID-19 recovery has been on an increase since May 3rd vis-a-vis active cases, adding that there has been reduction in overall case positivity in the last 3 days across the country.
3 मई से रिकवरी जो है वह बढ़ती जा रही है और विज़ा-विज़ द केसेस जो हमारे एक्टिव केसेस जो हमारे देश में रिपोर्ट होते हैं, यहाँ पर भी हम एक ट्रेंड पा रहे हैं कि देख रहे हैं कि पिछले 3 दिनों से देश में केसेस में एक प्लेटोइंग महसूस होती है। अगर हम पिछले कल का डेटा देखें तो पाते हैं कि देश ने पूरे देश में ही पहली बार हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ टेस्ट किए 19.83 लाख और साथ में हमारे देश में पिछले 3 दिनों से ओवरऑल केस पॉजिटिविटी में कुछ कमी पाई गई, जो कि 20% से कम अब हमारे देश में ओवरऑल पॉजिटिविटी पिछले 3 दिनों में नोट की गई है।
The government has said that it is important to break the chain of transmission through physical distancing. The government also urged the people infected with COVID-19 to isolate themselves to contain the spread of the infection.
अगर एक आदमी पॉजिटिव है और वह अपने आप को प्रॉपर्ली आइसोलेट नहीं करता तो वह अपने संपर्क में आने वाले सभी आदमियों को पॉजिटिव करता जाता है। एक पर्टिकुलर एक्सपोनेंशियल फॉर्म में यह इन्फेक्शन स्प्रेड हो रहा है, क्योंकि कुछ हद तक जैसे केस पॉजिटिविटी बढ़ रही है और साथ ही हायर स्प्रेड ऑफ इन्फेक्शन नोट किया जा रहा है, तो हमारी आप सबसे विनती है, सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि इस प्रोसेस को हम बिल्कुल ना भूलें। हमें चेन ऑफ ट्रांसमिशन को तोड़ना है, तो जो पॉजिटिव पेशेंट है वह प्रॉपर्ली आइसोलेट हो।
Oxygen Express continues to chug along, bringing much needed oxygen to various parts of the nation. Indian Railway has delivered more than 7,115 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen to various states across the country. Oxygen Expresses is delivering nearly 800 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen to the nation each day. First Oxygen Express to Tamil Nadu is set to reach later tonight with 80 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen. Also, the first Oxygen Express to Chennai is on its way from Durgapur carrying 80 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen in containers. For the NCR region, Oxygen Express is proving to be a lifeline in more ways than one. An Oxygen Express carrying 105.81 metric tons liquid medical oxygen from Angul in 6 tankers arrived at Faridabad on Thursday morning. More than 3,900 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen relief has been delivered to the NCR region so far. Punjab also got 40 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen from Oxygen Express. So far, 407 metric tons has been offloaded in Maharashtra. Nearly 1,960 metric tons in UP, 361 metric tons to MP, 1,135 metric tons in Haryana, 188 metric tons in Telangana, 72 metric tons in Rajasthan, 120 metric tons in Karnataka, and more than 2,748 metric tons in Delhi. Another Oxygen Express reached Varanasi from West Bengal carrying 40 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen in 2 containers. The IAF also continues to provide quick transportation of essentials in many parts of India. An Indian Air Force IL-76 airlifted 3 cryogenic oxygen containers from Singapore to Panagar Air Base on Wednesday. Another C-17 brought 4 cryogenic oxygen containers from Ostend, Belgium to Hindon Air Base. EEI's Bhubaneswar Airport and its stakeholders have also been playing an active role by facilitating seamless transportation of medical equipments and materials 24/7, including COVID vaccines, empty oxygen tankers, oxygen concentrators, oxygen cylinders, which have been transported via IAF cargo planes. As the nation faces once-in-a-century crisis, all hands have come together to provide succor to the nation and unite to face this huge challenge. Talking of ventilators, while the centre has been supporting the efforts of states and union territories for effective management of COVID-19 patients, it has refuted claims that the ventilators it supplied with support by PM Cares to GGS Hospital in Faridkot, Punjab are lying unused as a result of technical glitches which have not been resolved due to poor after-sales support by the manufacturers. On the contrary, the centre has further said that the problem is with the infrastructure at the said hospital in Faridkot, including non-availability of required pressure in the central oxygen gas pipelines. Centre has stressed that the firm that produced the ventilators has been providing all possible help to the hospital, but the hospitals in Punjab are not following the detailed manual and guidelines required to ensure optimum working of the ventilators. The government is also swiftly clearing and apportioning global aid to strengthen tertiary medical care across states and union territories. Cumulatively, 9,294 oxygen concentrators, 11,835 oxygen cylinders, 19 oxygen generation plants, 6,439 ventilators, nearly 4.22 lakh remdesivir vials have been delivered, dispatched through road and air from 27th of April to 12th of May. Meanwhile, in around a little over 1 year, eSanjeevani, the flagship national telemedicine service of Ministry of Home and Family Welfare, has served more than 50 lakh patients. Since April 2020, under its service, patient-to-doctor remote consultation services, daily around 40,000 patients in 31 states and union territories are using this contactless and risk-free modality of healthcare service delivery. Further, considering the current load of cases in few states, eSanjeevani OPD is also being used round the clock. All are pitching with their efforts to win the war against this deadly virus. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, state governments are doing everything they can to break the transmission of the coronavirus. In Uttar Pradesh, for instance, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath inspected an integrated COVID command center in Aligarh and Mathura. Meanwhile, Maharashtra has extended lockdown in the state till the 1st of June. Take a look at the latest COVID updates from across the country in the next report.
The battle against corona is continuing and the country is engaged in winning over this pandemic. State governments are working together with the centre and are taking all steps for containing this pandemic. For this, several states have imposed lockdown and corona curfew. During this period, roads wore a deserted look at several places and movement of people was limited. In view of the dangers posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Maharashtra government has extended the lockdown in the state till 1st of June. Those people entering Maharashtra have to carry a RT-PCR negative report which has been made mandatory, which needs not more than 48 hours prior to entering the state. After Maharashtra, lockdown was reviewed in Bihar and it has been further extended by 10 more days till 25th of May. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath inspected the integrated COVID command center in Aligarh and Mathura. The total number of active cases in the state is 2,04,658. Till now, a total of 13,59,676 people have recovered and the recovery rate stands at 86%. State Chief Minister expressed gratitude to Prime Minister Modi for increasing the oxygen supply.
हम आभारी हैं आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के, जिनके निर्देश पर एयरफोर्स के जहाजों ने और रेलवे, भारतीय रेल ने मदद की और आज ऑक्सीजन एक्सप्रेस के माध्यम से और वायुसेना के विमानों के माध्यम से ऑक्सीजन की आपूर्ति भी कर रहे हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश में 300 मीट्रिक टन की ऑक्सीजन की सामान्य दिनों में खपत होती थी, लेकिन सेकेंड वेव के दौरान यह बढ़ करके 1000 मीट्रिक टन से ज्यादा हो गई प्रतिदिन। कल ही हम लोगों ने 1030 मीट्रिक टन की आपूर्ति प्रदेश में की है और ये लगातार चल रही है।
Moving to the national capital Delhi, where the positivity rate has come down to 14%. The new corona cases have come down to 10,400. Due to reduction in cases, a large number of beds in hospitals are available. Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has said that now there's been a drop in the demand for oxygen as well.
700 की जगह अब दिल्ली का काम 582 मीट्रिक टन में चल जाएगा और हमें एक्स्ट्रा ऑक्सीजन मिल रही है इससे ऊपर, जो दिल्ली का कोटा 590 है उससे ऊपर मिल रही है, उसमें से एक बड़ा हिस्सा अब अन्य राज्यों को, जरूरतमंद राज्यों को दिया जा सकता है। एक जिम्मेदार सरकार होने के नाते हमने केंद्र सरकार को इन्फॉर्म कर दिया है।
A case of UK variant of the coronavirus has come to light in Rajasthan, with infection spreading to rural areas in the state. Decision has now been taken to do genome sequencing in the state. In Haryana, door-to-door testing in villages is being planned.
जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग का जो काम है हमने निश्चय किया, मुख्यमंत्री जी की डायरेक्शन है, जयपुर में SMS मेडिकल कॉलेज में शुरू किया जाए। विभाग के अधिकारी इसकी तैयारी में जुट गए। जल्दी हम ये सुविधा यहाँ डेवलप होने से तत्काल हमें डबल म्यूटेंट है, ट्रिपल म्यूटेंट है, कौन सा म्यूटेंट है उसकी जानकारी मिल जाएगी, तो ट्रीटमेंट की जो लाइन ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट है वो भी हमारा ठीक हो सकता है।
गांव के लिए हमने बहुत विस्तार से योजना बनाई है। गांव-गांव में जितने हॉटस्पॉट हैं वो हमने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिए हैं। वहाँ पर हम कोविड केयर सेंटर बनाने जा रहे हैं। हमने टीम्स बना दी हैं जो घर घर जाएंगी और किसी में भी अगर कोरोना के लक्षण पाए जाएंगे तो उनका टेस्ट करेंगी।
State governments are doing their bit at their level to keep a tab on the pandemic. The biggest challenge for them is to stop the spread of the pandemic to rural areas.
निगरानी समिति के बहुत सारे टीम्स हमने गठित किए हैं जो 97,000 गांव पंचायतों में जाके हमारे आशा वर्कर, आंगनवाड़ी वर्कर जितने भी हैं वो उसी लेवल के हैं। तो इसलिए जितने लोग भी वहाँ पहुँचा रहे हैं, मेडिकल किट हमने बनवा दिया है और जो भी व्यक्ति हल्का सा बुखार और सर्दी जुकाम से पीड़ित है उनको वहीं के वहीं हम दवाई दे रहे हैं।
In Jammu and Kashmir, the local administration is working round the clock in ramping up the supply of oxygen.
हमने 26 ऑक्सीजन जनरेशन प्लांट्स चालू किए हैं जिनकी कैपेसिटी लगभग 25,000 लीटर्स पर मिनट है कुल मिलाकर, और आने वाले दिनों में हम 52 ऑक्सीजन जनरेशन प्लांट्स और लगाने जा रहे हैं जिनकी कैपेसिटी 48,000 लीटर पर मिनट होगी।
Due to steroids, antibiotic medicines and maximum time in ICUs, mucormycosis is infected. State governments are doing their bit at their level to keep a tab on the pandemic. The biggest challenge for them is to stop the spread of the pandemic to rural areas. In Surat, over 40 cases of mucormycosis have come to the fore.
म्यूकोरमाइकोसिस बेसिकली एक फंगल इन्फेक्शन है जो जिसमें मुख्यत्वे जो फेशियल जैसे कि नाक है, दांत है, आँख है और ब्रेन को इसकी इफ़ेक्ट रहती है। बहुत स्पीड से ये फैलता है, तो जितना जल्दी उसका डायग्नोसिस हो जाए और ट्रीटमेंट शुरू हो जाए उतनी ही उसकी रिकवरी होने के चांसेस रहते हैं।
ब्लैक फंगस को लेकर हमारी सरकार ने काम करना शुरू किया है। कल ही हमने उच्च स्तरीय बैठक कर ये निर्णय लिया है कि हम भोपाल और जबलपुर के मेडिकल कॉलेज में इस बीमारी से संबंधित यूनिट स्थापित करेंगे। ये म्यूकोर यूनिट में न्यूरोलॉजी, ENT, ऑप्थेल्मोलॉजी और मेडिसिन विभाग के विशेषज्ञ रहेंगे।
People connected with several social organizations are also making their efforts for containing the pandemic. A community of auto drivers in Pune, Maharashtra has converted an auto into an ambulance for COVID-19 patients. Oxygen cylinders have also been installed in these auto rickshaws.
हमारा हेल्पलाइन नंबर है, हेल्पलाइन नंबर से हमको कॉल आता है कि तुमको ऐसा ऐसा पेशेंट है, वो पेशेंट को ऑटो की ज़रूरत है या नहीं है, उधर से हमको समझता है। और हमारे डॉक्टर है, वो डॉक्टर भी हमको समझाते हैं कि उसको कितना तुमको ऑक्सीजन देना है और उसका ट्रेनिंग भी हमको दिया है। और जो अगर समझो उसका ऑक्सीजन लेवल कम है तो उसको वही लेवल से उसको ऑक्सीजन देना है। अगर ऑक्सीजन का ज़रूरत नहीं तो उसको खाली एम्बुलेंस में हम लोग लेके जाते हैं, ऑटो एम्बुलेंस में।
The participation of the common people in battling the COVID-19 pandemic in the country is quite significant. All people should wear masks and follow social distancing norms to curb this pandemic. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, now take a look at what else is making news around India in our National Roundup segment.
West Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar met the victims of the post-poll violence in Setalkulchi in Cooch Behar. The government called upon the state government for acting against those who took law in their own hands. The Election Commission has deferred the holding of the forthcoming Legislative Council elections in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana in view of the surge in corona cases. The Election Commission has said that only after improvement in the situation, the matter will be considered. The term of 3 members of Andhra Pradesh Legislative Council and 6 members of Telangana Legislative Council is ending on 31st May and 3rd June 2021 respectively. Union Public Service Commission has deferred the Civil Services Examination 2021 preliminary round scheduled to be held on 27th of June this year. The decision has been taken in view of the prevailing COVID-19 situation. The exam will now be held on 10th of October 2021. In a major industrial mishap, 4 persons were killed and 10 other injured in a reactor vessel blast at a pesticides manufacturing industry in Kudalur in Tamil Nadu. The injured have been admitted in nearby government hospital for treatment. An inquiry had been ordered to ascertain the exact cause of the blast. The Bombay High Court directed the Maharashtra government to submit a medical report of lawyer activist Sudha Bharadwaj, who is imprisoned in the Baikula Women's Jail in Mumbai in connection with the Bhima Koregaon case. Sudha Bharadwaj's daughter had requested for interim bail, citing bad health of her mother. The court will hear the plea on 21st of May.
Right, moving on. In other news, the Election Commission of India, in furtherance of its continuing reforms process, has decided to set up a core committee headed by Secretary General ECI to identify learning, experiences, shortcomings from recently poll-gone states of Assam, Bihar, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal and the UT of Puducherry. The committee is being broadly tasked to identify shortcomings or gaps in election commission regulatory regime, if any, and the gaps in implementation and enforcement at the level of CEOs and district officials. The Commission said need for strengthening legal regulatory framework, enabling it to more effectively ensure compliance of guidelines and directions, including COVID norms. Measures to ensure discharge of responsibility like enforcement of COVID protocol by the agencies or authorities mandated under respective regulatory or legal regime to do so irrespective of and in addition to ECI guidelines. Also, gaps, if any, in the guidelines or at implementation level in MCC regulatory regime leading to avoidance or non-compliance by the candidates or political parties' stakeholders. And measures to further strengthen the expenditure management regulation for inducement-free election. Right, to world news now. By dawn on Thursday, Israel had renewed its airstrikes on the Palestinian coastal enclave of Gaza, destroying a 6-story residential building in the middle of Gaza City. Now, as world powers reiterate calls for calm, a wave of violence between Jewish Israelis and the country's Arab minority spread in several Israeli cities, with attacks on synagogues and Arab-Jewish fighting in the streets. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden spoke to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, and the U.S. dispatched an envoy to try to calm the Israel-Palestine hostilities in years. Israelis and Palestinians living in Gaza continue to exchange rocket fire on Thursday. A rocket launched from the Gaza Strip hit a residential building in the Israeli city of Petah Tikva as cross-border violence escalated. Hamas also launched rockets at Tel Aviv and toward Jerusalem early on Thursday, while large explosions also shook Gaza City after Israel pledged to keep pummeling Hamas in what's been the heaviest fighting since the 2014 Gaza war. An Israeli airstrike on a Hamas command post in the Gaza Strip on Wednesday killed 16 Hamas figures, including a senior commander and weapons developers. The violence has claimed over 67 lives in Gaza, while 7 people have been killed in Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said nothing can justify a lynching of Jews by Arabs or Arabs by Jews. He vowed to stop violent clashes between Jewish and Arab Israelis as fury and fear over shelling exchanges with Palestinian militants in Gaza ignited violence on Israel's streets. Netanyahu, speaking late on Wednesday night, said he planned to send in military forces to help police maintain order in cities ruptured by violence. Meanwhile, Palestinians in the West Bank clashed with Israeli security forces on Wednesday night. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, in a televised speech, asked Israel and the United States to leave Palestine alone. He said, "We will stay like a thorn in your eyes. We will never leave our country." US President Joe Biden spoke to Netanyahu on Wednesday. Biden told media afterwards that he hoped the violence would end soon. He said, "Israel has a right to defend itself."
I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu not too long ago. I'll be putting out a statement very shortly on that. My expectation and hope is that this will be closing down sooner than later. But Israel has a right to defend itself when you have thousands of rockets flying into your territory.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Wednesday said a meeting of the International Quartet on resolving the conflict is urgently required to stop the tensions. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, speaking at the same briefing in Moscow after talks with Lavrov, said the UN is committed to revitalizing the work of the quartet.
We are totally committed to revitalizing the quartet. We are totally committed to promote all forms of dialogue by the parties and by other key actors that can be supportive of all démarches necessary for de-escalation, but also for the revitalization of a peace process that has been dormant for too much time.
Meanwhile, the sound of rockets being shot down by Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system filled the sky, sending thousands of Israelis into shelters. Bureau Report, DD India. And amid the COVID-19 restrictions, Kerala celebrated Eid ul-Fitr festival, marking the end of the fasting month of Ramzan. Greeting Muslims of the state, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said Eid ul-Fitr shares a message of humanity, unity and compassion. And President Ramnath Kovind greeted fellow citizens on the eve of Eid ul-Fitr. In his message, the President said, and I quote, "On the occasion of Eid ul-Fitr, I extend my best wishes and greetings to all the fellow citizens, especially to the Muslim brothers and sisters. Eid ul-Fitr is also an occasion to rededicate ourselves to the service of humanity and to improve the lives of the people in need. Let's all resolve to deal with this pandemic of COVID-19 by following all the rules and guidelines and work for the well-being of society and the country," unquote. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has greeted the nation on the eve of Eid ul-Fitr. In his message, the Vice President said, and I quote, "I convey my heartiest greetings and good wishes to the people of our country on the joyous occasion of Eid ul-Fitr. Eid ul-Fitr marks the culmination of the holy month of Ramzan and symbolizes brotherhood and togetherness of community. The festival reaffirms the spirit and importance of compassion, charity and generosity in our lives. May the noble ideals associated with Eid ul-Fitr enrich our lives with peace, harmony and the spirit of humanity," unquote. Meanwhile, the Indian Army and Pakistani Army celebrated Eid ul-Fitr on the line of control at Poonch Rawalakot Crossing Point and Mendar Hot Spring Crossing Point in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir on Thursday. The armies of both countries exchanged sweets and compliments with the representatives of their counterparts in an atmosphere of bonhomie and festivities. The Indian Army, in a statement, said the ceremony is seen as a confidence-building measure in the backdrop of the recently agreed ceasefire between the two countries. And worshippers held their prayer rugs and flocked to mosques around West Asia to observe Eid ul-Fitr prayers, the first since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. From Iraq to Lebanon, many Muslims this year took precautionary measures as governments allowed prayers to be held but still lack the usual masses that spill outside the mosque grounds and into the surrounding streets and alleyways. In Afghanistan, President Ashraf Ghani said the withdrawal of foreign troops represented the greatest opportunity for the country as people mark the Muslim religious holiday of Eid ul-Fitr. Ghani observed prayers at the presidential palace and in an address to the nation called on the Taliban to choose peace or destruction. Taliban insurgents had said they would observe a 3-day ceasefire in Afghanistan for Eid starting Thursday after weeks of increasing violence that gripped the entire country. And in Southeast Asia, Indonesia's Muslims arrived at mosques with face masks to perform Eid al-Fitr prayers at dawn despite concerns that the coronavirus pandemic has yet to subside. As one of the world's largest Muslim-majority countries struggle to contain the spread of the virus, worshippers are advised to follow health protocols during prayers in line with the government's calls to limit their movements during this year's Eid celebrations. Even so, worshippers were thankful that they were allowed to congregate to mark the end of the holy fasting month of Ramzan. And it's a wrap, but news continues here on DD India. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Don't forget, wear a mask, wash your hands and always practice physical distancing. Remember, it is better to be safe than sorry. Now is not the time to be adventurous. Now is the time to be abundantly cautious. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.